Welcome to the BobbleOn podcast,
where we're committed to providing practical advice and strategies to increase your revenue, unify your team, and create accountability throughout your organization.
Let's go.
2020 is upon us. Didn't know this was ever going to happen. Didn't know we'd actually make it this far, but we have, and it's now here, and we're excited to get going.
Stay with us. This will be a good podcast.
Podcasting in 2020.
Hey, we're almost a full year now. We are a full year now.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah, over 50 episodes.
A lot of things don't stick for a year.
No, this has been a really fun journey. Yeah,
Hell
excited.
yeah.
Excited. So today we're going to be talking about how to start 2020 the right way, right? And there's a lot of pods out there about New Year's resolutions. We're not going to be doing that, right?
Hell no.
No.
We're not going New Year's resolution style.
No.
Talking, get into the dirt. Let's make some moves.
Minor aside, I'm not a huge New Year's resolution guy.
No, me neither.
I think I think it's a great practice. I think the practice of thinking about the new year and some things you want to do better, excellent. Awesome. I love the posts that are like start in December. Wonderful. All well and good. But I just don't like the physical action of just because it's January 1st, all of a sudden, massive change.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge guy of that.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of years ago, I heard something. Someone was like, "Hey, what's one thing you're going to not change, and one thing you are going to change?"
Ooh, I like that.
And I kind of like that because it gets you like thinking both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna try to start doing this, but I'm also gonna continue to do this because I'm really proud of myself.
I like that. I think the practice that I was going towards in 2020, and I might do exactly what you just said, I like that a lot, was I was trying to think of in 2020, who do I want to become? When I'm in 2020, what do I want to be? When I'm not in the room, what do I want people to say he is, etc.? And I landed on 4 things, and I'm going to make goals towards those 4 things. But it's not really like a New Year's resolution. It's just a strive to be something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like New Year's resolutions kind of irk me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think anything that you start at a specific date, because it's that date, loses a little bit of credibility, and it's harder to. It's kind of like a fad diet or running on a diet. It's like no, it should just be a never-ending journey of eating healthy, and you're gonna have dips and high points and stuff. But
well, it's also set up incorrectly because like the last 2 weeks, I mean, most people eat like total shit. And they drink way more than they want to, and yada yada. So when they come to December 30th, it's like, I need to be healthier. I gotta survive. Like I can't do this to myself. And you're like, oh, it was a pretty good year. You did pretty well.
Yeah.
Like it might just be like thinking about the last week.
Yeah, it's so funny too because for you and I, we don't we're at a stage in our lives where we're not watching the ball drop and going out hard the night before. But for a lot of people in their teens and 20s, they're going out, even 30s, they're going out the night before. So what happens? They wake up the next day hungover, and all they want is like a grilled cheese and a bagel. And they're like, the first day I can't even stick to my New Year's. But anywho. So, ZG, what are we going to talk about today?
You know what irks me about New Year's resolution? We are going to be talking, strictly about how to make 2020 your best sales year. Because when we go into the new year, we want to sell more. So if you and I sold $1 million each in production last year, $1 million in premium, what do you want to do next year?
Well, naturally, you want to increase that. You want to try to sell, let's say you set the goal at 25% increase.
Sounds perfect.
And, we want to sell 1.25.
Yep.
And I think we've done this a lot in the past. You set the goal, you're excited about the growth, but then how do you actually make that happen?
Yeah, 25% growth, it's like an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
But you like a little bit of arbitrary numbers. You like doing something you've never done before. But when you sit back January 2nd, like, how do I do something I've never done before?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how to get that done.
Yeah, the grit. I like it.
Angela Duckworth.
The day-to-day.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, the compound effect.
Give me your personal best moment, with or without Santa, of last week.
Well, I didn't see Santa. I know he was there, but I didn't see him. So we finish off 2019 with an anticipated move. Sadie, Parker, Belle, and I moved down the street to a condo that I had put a deposit down 1.5 years ago. It was pre-construction and finally got built.
ZB.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to this for a long time. It just, it was a little unfortunate, the timing of the move with the baby, with the timing of the year and Christmas. But we made it work. We had, the blinds installed. We had the closets built. We had the movers come. We had a bunch of stuff happen. The best moment was when we finally finished the full move-in. It took 4 days of timing and trying to find time between work and between Belle and Parker and everything. But when we finally sat down and had a glass of wine and said, wow, we're in. There were a lot of things left, but when that happened, it was like, huge sigh of relief because we finished off 19 the way we wanted to. Funny moment though, that I was proud, but also like it was scary. I decided, backing up, our condo's a one bed. Bought it a year and a half ago, had no baby, had no dog, wasn't engaged. There was a lot of changes. Fast forward, got a lot of changes, but ta-da! Had to move forward with it. We're making it work. We're using the bedroom for Parker so that we could put him down at 7:30 and have time, for ourselves and enjoy. So I got this really nice king-size Murphy bed that folds over a couch so we can watch TV during the day. You can sleep there at night in the living room and set it all up. Decided not to pay $1,500 to have a professional guy come in and assemble it. Tried to do it myself with a carpenter buddy and was deep into it, almost there. This is like the day before, 2 days before Christmas. And I'll say he was doing it, but it was really my fault because I told him to move forward with it. But he stripped the most important bolt that was the holding the entire thing together, the pivot point. And we couldn't get it. We worked on it for 2-3 hours. We couldn't get it to fix. So the day or day and a half before Christmas, I contact the company in Canada. They like a half hour before they close on a Friday or whatever. And I contact them and I say, hey, we stripped this. I need a whole new bed or whatever. They're like, no, you probably just need a new tap and yada, yada. I didn't know what a tap was. I don't know if you know what a tap is.
Keg tap?
It's not a keg tap, but it's kind of the same thing.
That'd be pretty awesome in a Murphy bed, though.
We might actually need it. It's what retethers and restrips and retethers the inside of the what a bolt goes into.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, never knew that you could do that. They overnighted it from Canada. It arrives at 12:30 the day before Christmas. He's not available. I actually go ahead and try to do it myself. This was like Vegas had like 3% odds on me successfully doing this. Higher odds on breaking a leg or breaking an arm. But I was able to get it done in like 45 minutes, put the frame on, got it all done, and then we scooted off to see Sadie's parents in Hubbardston. So I was able to get it done, and it was a proud moment. It was also a huge success. And
how many YouTube clips did you watch?
I had YouTube on the entire time.
I love
how
that.
to tap, how to use a tap and die set to set up or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
so,
it's functional?
It's functional. Yeah, it's working.
It's good. It's good that you're sleeping in it and not Parker because like the fact that you and Sadie are lying in it, it's like if something goes wrong, at least it's you.
It's just us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You set it up and the baby was in it.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Yeah.
Scary. Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So anyways,
that
cool.
was
a side story that was totally pointless, but it was a big moment.
Are you kidding?
Because for guys like us, like we're not huge, we're not huge handymen.
I wouldn't have even gone. Yeah. I would have stroked that check no matter what it was worth. So you're way more handy than I am.
Like using drills, that kind of stuff is one thing, but like retethering the really I have no idea how to tap something.
Yeah. Huh.
So
I like it.
How about you?
And a few personal bests. I'm going to choose one from yesterday, though. Listen, we had an awesome Christmas, great Hanukkah, so there was a lot of cool moments I could choose. But I was telling ZB this morning. I am not handy, so I'll stay on the handy story. Mason got a lot of Legos for Christmas, and he got them. He took them downstairs, brought them downstairs, playing with all his other toys. He gets overwhelmed, forgets about them, whatever. Last night, yesterday, he goes down to the basement with Emma, and they go play for a long time, and they're doing their thing. And I'm trying to watch the Patriots game, which was a waste of time. That was an awful game. Patriots lose. I get up, I'm walking around, and I look down. I was like, oh, Mason's been down there for a long time. I shut down. I was like, Mason, you all right, bud? And he goes, yeah, I'm waiting for you. And I looked down, and I was like, huh. So I walked downstairs in the basement, and he's got the 3 instruction sets out on certain pages. He's got all of the Legos aligned with the instruction pages. And he's like, I started, let's build these. And I was like, wow, I I don't know if I can help you. Like I'm like that much of not
So
handy. But
he prearranged all of the Legos based off of the instruction manuals?
yeah, and he like got everything in bunches and whatever, and we literally built a boat, we built an airplane, we built all this stuff, and I think I was more excited than even he was. Like he was like really happy, and I was like demanding high fives when like we got like a tough part done. It was actually really cool. So we got it all built, and he's super proud of it, and he brought it to school today to show his friends. And when I was at school with him this morning, he has these things out, and his buddy James and his other buddies are around him, and James is like, wow, this is amazing. How'd you do it? He goes, my daddy and I did it. And I was just like, man, might be the last thing we do together like that. But
it sounds like he has a future as like either an architect or a developer, designer, builder.
He's just super organized, and he will not leave until it's done. And it was so fun. So we're gonna do it again tonight. Tonight we have something else. We have an evil man to build, or some some sinister dude.
Another Lego system?
Yeah. So I'm gonna get home and make sure I do that.
Did you do that as a kid?
I did a ton of Lincoln Logs.
Yeah,
I love building like whole cities basically, or towns, whatever, of Lincoln Logs with all the Indians and the what were they? Whatever the
Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. That was super fun. Yeah. I loved that.
Lincoln Logs were great. I think Legos were my favorite. I even had Duplos when we were younger, like the bigger Legos, and then of course GI Joes and figurines.
I like GI Joes. I was really big into Lincoln Logs. I remember I would build I would try to build like 2 or 3 story whatevers, and I got so disappointed when my sisters came around because they would just come and like just knock them over. Spent
my best friend, it brings back a horrible memory, but my best friend Chris Stalzer, when I was in elementary school in Atlanta, this is after Africa, we came back, but in Atlanta I met this best friend. We hung out every single day. We built this huge, it was after Christmas, we built this huge like spacecraft together. It took 5 hours. We got it finally done. And his younger sister, must have been 5 years old, took it and threw it down the stairs, and the whole thing just exploded. I vividly remember this. This was like 30 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's her name? Do you remember?
It goes without saying. We don't mention her name.
She didn't exist after that day.
Yeah. Well, I threw her down the stairs.
Anyway, so all right, back to 2020. So we're thinking about increasing sales by 25%. The problem is we have no idea how to do it. We just know that growth is important, more is important. And in the past, what would you do? You try to like close more. You maybe try a new closing technique. Maybe read a book. Maybe link up with somebody who sells more than you, or talk to your manager, talk to your leader, and you try to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But in essence,
or you just try to out hustle yourself in first month, like in January, and this happened to us back in 2010, 11, 12. Like we go into the next year and we're super excited, and what do is like we crush January. We just work harder than we did the previous January, and it results in more sales. But that isn't a sustainable or organized way to proceed. And so what happens? You go up and then you come back down, and you end up stabilizing a little bit.
Yeah, and what we're trying to do here is we are trying to hit goals regardless of market conditions.
Right.
And that's the whole point of this podcast, is how do you hit your 2020 sales goals if you want to grow and you want to hit like 25, 10% more than you've ever done before. How do you do it without market conditions? And that's what we're going to be laying out, because you and I have crushed sales goals because of market conditions in the past. Like I've looked back at a Q1 and be like, wow, that was a really good Q1. And then, I don't know, something happened where like home sales were up or something, and it just, who cares?
Yeah,
exactly. I didn't do anything differently.
The thing that really works is the simplicity of organization and the consistency of weekly tracking. And I think that is undervalued in the sales world, in every industry, but especially ours. And for years, we just looked at bigger annual goals and said, if we just work hard enough and stay focused on the year-end goal, we'll get there. When it's, in reality, week to week to week, day to day to day, what you do, the little things you do every single day that compound.
Absolutely. This is exactly how we approach almost every single problem. It's how would you solve it if there was no technology boost? How would you solve it? And that's what we try to do. So our method, just to be clear, could involve a pen and a paper or an Excel spreadsheet. That's all you need to get this done. You do not need a CRM, although be it very helpful. You don't need anything. You don't need to purchase anything. You just need to start keeping track of what matters.
Amen. Yep. And We call them scorecards, and we call it whatever you want, tracker, weekly, whatever.
Call it a scorecard.
Call it a scorecard. Exactly what I've said if you call it anything different. But we look at it as if we are trying to stay consistent every single week with the same habits, the same behaviors. Obviously, we want to talk about those behaviors and what we're actually tracking. That's super important. But the why is even more important. It's that if we're not actually writing these things down and tracking them every single week, and then we're not actually reviewing it with anyone else, we're never going to stick to it. There's a few people in the world that actually stick to that.
Right.
It's so much easier if you have an accountability partner. It's best if it's within your team. It's best if you're a manager or leader that you are the one that's facilitating this. But let's just say you're a salesperson or you're a producer, you're an agency owner, it doesn't matter. But you are responsible for selling. You need to have someone that you're checking in weekly to review the data that you're actually tracking, and you're actually reporting it. You're writing it down and keeping track of it. That's like the absolute necessity first before we move on to what we're tracking.
Yeah, and let's say you don't have an accountability partner, because I like that, but let's say you're a team of one. Let me just take actually one step back. If you're a team of 3 or 4, like you just said, grab somebody inside your team or grab a customer service rep. Maybe they have their own, you have your own. That doesn't matter. But if you are on your own, take this as like an extreme ownership. We just reviewed extreme ownership. This is the exact same concept. You set a goal. We're going to talk about how to do that. You either hit it or you don't. Once you start saying an excuse, that's when you know you actually aren't bought into the scorecard, what we're going to be talking about here. So let's talk about an example. If, taking a totally different example, let's just say I wanted to only have 2 drinks in a week. Let's say this is what I'm trying to do and I'm trying to keep track of. Well, if I had 3 drinks and I said, well, it was a holiday party. No, it's I physically do not have to have that 3rd beverage. I'm already making it. And so take a little bit of what we talked about in extreme ownership 2 podcasts ago into what Matt just described here. We're going to be going over how to build out your scorecard, but there's no such thing as excuses. Like you said, with the accountability, you either hit it or you don't. That's it.
Amen. Yeah. I think it's a really good point. We overestimate, though, what we can get done on our own. So just having someone that you're reviewing this with is really going to help you. It's going to hold you a little bit more accountable than your own self. I know personally, knowing that like if I had a gym partner that I was going to get to the gym early at 5 a.m. and work out with, I'm holding myself a little bit more accountable if they're going to be there. Of
course.
So it's definitely going to help. The very, very few people in our industry track anything weekly. So if you are just tracking stuff weekly, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're tracking stuff weekly, you are already in the 1% of the behavior that matters.
Let's talk about what not to track here before we talk about what to track. So again, we're going to use nice round numbers here. Let's say you're trying to go out to $1 million. Let's say $1 million is your sales goal. It is very easy to break that down into quarters, 250, 250, 250, 250. And then you can divide it into weeks or whatever. What you should not be doing on this scorecard is just saying, all right, here's my weekly premium number, and I either hit it or I don't, because that's not good enough. That will not give you an example. So let's talk about how to build this out.
That just shows you the outcomes. And it's important to track outcomes so that you know you're on track and you know that what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is working. But to actually track the actions that matter and the behaviors that matter is critical. It's key. So we like to break into 2 different segments on our scorecard when it comes to sales. It's the type of networking, the type of marketing, the type of referral management you're going to be working. So there might be people out there that focus on online leads, whatever it is. We're going to specifically talk about networking and the partners that you need to meet in order to refer you business. And then the second component of the scorecard is the sales component. Once you've got the prospect in the door and you've talked to them, how do you actually track and what do you track on a week-to-week basis?
Perfect. So let's hit it. So if you are in business development or you have a business development component of you obviously have to have meetings, right? So again, we're not only tracking leads, we're tracking the actions, like you said, to get this done. So we have for one thing, you have number of meetings or a number of engagements, something along those lines, right?
Yeah. So the first thing would be, an easy one would be the number of new meetings, which means like, it's important to track existing partner meetings. And like if you met with a loan officer, realtor, or whomever a bunch of times, it's really important to track that. But how many new partner meetings are you having a week?
Mm-hmm.
And not overshooting on this.
No.
And being reasonable.
Do one.
Realistic. One
Yeah.
would be awesome, because
Yeah.
then at the end of the year, you've met with 52 new potential referral partners. This is so important because no one is tracking weekly, but certainly very few people are tracking new potential referral partner meetings weekly.
Yeah. So we got new, and then you use the exact same thing for current,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're tracking new partner meetings, current partner meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and those are action items.
Yep.
They're not. The market does not matter for those, right? You do those in a cold market, hot market. Who
Correct.
cares?
Yep.
Right? Matter.
And if you want to break out engagements, we like to say engagements as well. So you could have a new partner meeting as one, like, well, I'm going to meet one new referral partner a week. I'm gonna see or meet with one or two current referral partners a week, but then I'm gonna have 10 or 20 engagements a week, which could be texts, it could be video, Skypes, it could be calls, it could be coffees, it could be whatever. But it forces you to stay on top of mind personally with the top people that you have in your network, and it forces you to meet new people on a consistent basis.
Beautiful.
And you obviously also want to track referrals received.
And that's the
outcome.
Yeah, that's a little bit more tied to market, right?
Yep.
Just a tiny bit.
Yep.
Because if you were tracking that last week with Christmas and Hanukkah and all the other holidays, probably not getting many referrals received, right? So that's why you track for business development, like we said, 2 things you can control. 1 that's related to how well you're doing.
Yep. And then if over time, if you're hitting what your weekly goal is for the actions and behaviors you can control, but you're not meeting your referral goal, well, then you're not tracking the right thing, or you should increase your number.
Switch it up.
Easy.
Yep. All right, so that's business development. Let's talk about sales. So now we really got to figure out, that's great, Matt, I'm getting leads, but how do I get to $1 million? What do I do?
Yeah. So we really like 2 call it lead behaviors or actions you can control, and then 2 outcomes you really want to track. And a lot of people just track the outcomes on a monthly or quarterly basis.
Basically all.
Yeah, exactly.
Which just to be clear, that's why we're a little anti-CRM in this particular component of what we're doing at BobbleOn, because a CRM is a little bit more just straight up the results. Yeah. Where this is a little bit more what you did.
Yep. So the 2 actions that you can control that we really recommend, whether you're selling personal lines, commercial lines, life insurance, whatever it is. 1 is the number of prospects you've quoted. So the number of potential clients you have quoted. The second is the number of proposals, policy proposals you've sent out. Now that's not, a proposal with $500 deductible and a proposal with $1,000 deductible. It's the number of lines you've quoted and proposed to them. Call it auto, home, umbrella, life, flood. That would be 5 proposals to 1 prospect. And that gives you really good information. It says the number of people you're quoting. It gives you like a quantity basis. And then out of those people you've quoted, how many proposals have you actually sent? We want a really high ratio. The higher policies, proposals sent to prospects quoted, the better. Yep. If you're getting 10 prospects in the door, awesome. But if you're only sending 10 proposals, you're failing.
Yeah. And so we know this sounds a little bit like a broken record, but again, what Matt just went over has nothing to do with what time of month it is. You should always be hitting the goal that you want to do. And it has nothing to do with how many leads you're getting in. It's how many quotes am I doing? How many proposals am I sending out and connecting?
Exactly. If you have an off week and you're only able to quote 5 clients or 5 prospective clients, but you sent out 25 proposals. That's 25 different lines of business you could sell to them.
Win.
Awesome. You've crushed it. You've absolutely crushed it. Yep. Even if your policy count's a little low, your premium's a little low.
Winning.
The outcomes we want to track are pretty clear, pretty obvious. It's policy sold, premium booked.
Bingo.
Premium book's important because you have an annual goal of a premium, $1 million, $1.5 million, whatever it might be. Policy sold gives you a really good reflection, a ratio of prospects, clients.
So you can clean up your whole data.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. And this sounds so simple, but if you track it for a full year, then all of a sudden you have a whole new data set that you've never had before. It's difficult to have an organized outlook on the last month, last year, that it goes through the business development side and the sales side all together, and you have it right in front of you now. Yeah. And we'd very much recommend just a very simple Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, Excel spreadsheets have worked for us 10 years. And they're easy. Everyone knows how to use them. It's just basically a glorified data management system. Like it's really simple. Our challenge to you guys would be commit to this for a quarter. It's 13 weeks of tracking. If you haven't done this in the past, it is a huge commitment, a huge change of behavior to do this for 13 weeks. So our challenge to you, build out a simple scorecard. Have business development and sales in there. Number of new meetings with new referral partners on a weekly basis, existing partner meetings, engagements with partners and total referrals received, number of prospects quoted, number of proposals sent, policies sold, premium booked. Track it for a quarter, have an accountability partner, if not with the entire team, and stick to it. After a quarter, you'll see your trends, you get a really good firm idea of your data. You'll hopefully stick to it for the rest of the year because you've already committed 13
And it's
weeks.
in your face every week.
Amen.
That way you don't have to look at, like you said, at the end of the month, the end of the quarter, oh, how much premium did I book? And you run some cockamamie report, and you're like, oh, that data is not right, and like you get all confused, and you go over to a CSR and double check the entries, and you're getting all confused. And I thought I did. No, this is in your face every single week.
Yep.
Set the goal, you're on track or off track, and you're done.
Yeah. Most successful people in the world focus on the weekly.
Amen. Let's make 2020 a great year. Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for the last year. It's been a really fun year.
Excited for 2020. I mean, what are we going to do in 2020 to top 2019?
Everything.
I love it.
BobbleOn.
BobbleOn.